Well, good evening and welcome to Kopernik Observatory. Again, my name is Drew Desker. I'm the director here. And our presentation this evening is, I feel like I'm hearing the, I thought I did turn it off. Give me a second here. Hold on. It's off. Or so it claims. Oh, it's out there. I'm sorry. All right. We got audio coming from outside, which I thought was... You're
getting a loop from what you already said.
All right, here we go. All right. One more time. All right. Best laid plans, right? All right, here we go. I'll get there in a second. All right. Now we're ready to start. Sorry about that. So what I wanted to do this evening was sort of talk about Kopernik, and that this year is actually the 50th anniversary of the opening of Kopernik. So I want to talk a little bit about the past, and also I'll talk about the present, and then what the future might hold, or what we plan for it to hold. So again, my name is Drew Desker. I'm the director here, and I'm going to go to a video here that I think really sort of we're very proud of.
Well, hello everybody. This is Dr. Michelle Thaler from NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, and all of you are in one of my favorite places in the world, Kopernik Observatory. I've been there several times, and I hope to get back sometime in the near future. I think you guys have some of the best tour guides for the universe there. I've been to many public observatories all around the world, and I have to say the staff and facilities at Kopernik are absolutely first rate. And the kind of work that's being done here is so important to us at NASA, because we can be out exploring the universe, doing everything that we do, and if that information doesn't get back to the public, if somebody doesn't make you care about that and feel like you're somehow involved in what we do, then really we're wasting our time. And that's the great work that the people at Kopernik Observatory do. I think they really get you involved, they really get you excited about what we're learning about the universe. So I hope you have a great visit. Again, thanks for coming, and I hope to see all of you soon when I get back to Kopernik Observatory.
So, Kopernik Observatory is named after Mikolaj Kopernik, and you guys did a great job pronouncing his name during the birthday singing, so thank you for that. But we know him as Nicholas Copernicus, and so back when in the 1500s, 1600s, all academic work was done in Latin, and so because Mikolaj Kopernik's name is Polish, he was Latinized to Nicholas Copernicus, so that's why you may know him as Nicholas Copernicus, or maybe in school, but his original name was Mikolaj Kopernik. And so usually what I do is I ask when people come up here and says, what's Kopernik famous for? Usually I just hear crickets. It's silence. But every once in a while, and usually it's the younger ones that know this, they remember that Copernicus developed what's called a heliocentric model of our solar system. Up until Copernic's time, people thought that the moon, the sun, all the planets revolved around the Earth. But sometimes those planets looked like they would be moving backwards. We call that retrograde motion, and that bugged Kopernik. So he did the math and said, no, look, if we put the sun in the center, then it all makes sense. And so back in the early 1970s, there was a group of Polish immigrants and people of Polish heritage that wanted to commemorate Kopernik's birthday, and they're trying to figure out how best to do that. And so this is actually the Robertson Museum and Science Center in downtown Binghamton. And at the time, there was a gentleman that was running the planetarium there. His name is Richard DeLuca. And he was a sort of an astronomical archaeologist by training, And he said, you know, this place really, you know, we really need some way to get an observatory in this area. And so I don't know if you sort of noticed that little sort of half moon in the middle of that picture. If I move a little closer, that's a telescope dome. That is our 6-inch telescope dome. And so Richard DeLuca sort of got started by getting that used dome. He then started talking with the Copernik Society of Broome County, and they said, look, let's create an observatory. And as I always say, rather than buy a statue of Copernik and plunk it in the park and say we're done, so they built the original observatory. So they raised upwards of $400,000 and broke ground. Here it's a little bit of a dark image here, but these were members of the Copernik Society along with Ed Neslick, who was the contractor, and started building the original observatory. Again, here you can see that used dome that was purchased, and you start to see the footers for all the concrete. Construction continued. They finally got the domes up, and then finally in June of 1974, they had a big grand opening here, and again, the Polish Heritage Society around here was very, very proud of this, and was very, very active. You could sort of see a number of people in a number of these people actually were World War II veterans, and so anyway, so that was the opening back in 1974. And here is actually Ed Neslick receiving congratulations from, I believe, somebody from the Polish embassy. Now this is Dr. Ed Kozlowski. He and his wife were part of the founding members of the observatory. He was a dentist down in Binghamton, and unfortunately died way too soon. But he and his wife were really the driving force of getting this observatory set up. And this picture, I always, whenever we do a tour, I actually have that sim picture right over here. But we talk about this cornerstone, which actually we opened up back in October of last year during our Astrofest. Inside there was a time capsule. But anyway, you can see Dr. Ed Kozlowski here on the left, Richard Miller way on the right, Ed Neslick is the gentleman in the middle, and the gentleman in the dark suit. Does anybody recognize the face? Commander Jim Lovell of Apollo 13. So this is 2 years after the Apollo 13 mission. So he actually came up here and sort of helped us raise some funds and get that cornerstone going. So back in the 1974, this is what it looked like. We just had a single classroom. So if you went into our physics classroom and did the black hole simulator or the space coins, that's that room right there. Then these are the two domes that you went into this evening. The one on the left is the one that you looked at the moon with. The one on the right is the one you were looking at when you were looking at Jupiter. And I like this picture. Apparently there was a parade, and so they actually built a little small observatory model and took it down. So this has got to be somewhere down in Johnson City, I believe. But anyway, soon after it was built, it was then donated to the Roberson Museum and Science Center in downtown Binghamton. And they ran it for the better part of 33, 34 years. But in 1993, they decided to do a major expansion. And so they started to think about, what might that look like? And this was part of the sort of architect's original concepts of what that might have looked like. And it turns out that's pretty much what we got. So they started building it, and so you can see it's stick built, and they're the two domes. At the time, we had a satellite receiving dish here, and then was finally built. This is the way before drones, so this was actually an airplane shot, and that's what it looked like. And then soon after it was built, they then started doing what they called the Link Summer Science Exploration. We now call it Link Summer STEM Exploration. And these are summer camps where kids come up here and spend a week investigating a wide range of both engineering and science topics. And we will continue to run those. We've run that every summer since then. But this will be our 32nd year, I believe. But in 2007, well, actually 2006, Robertson announced that they were going to close down Copernic because they felt it was too expensive to run. When you're running a business, you have to look at what's working and what's not, and they just had difficulty making this place profitable. So they announced they were going to close it down. The Copernic Society said, look, if you don't want it anymore, we'll take it back. And so that's what happened. It returned to the Copernic Society of Broome County. And so sort of a new day, a new dawn for the Copernic Observatory started at that point. So what our mission is our mission statement says that we're an innovative leader in interdisciplinary, lifelong learning in science, technology, engineering, and math. And for me, what's particularly important is this lifelong learning, and it's great. I mean, it's always great to have student groups come up here, but I really enjoy when we engage with adults because it's also modeling for the kids that school doesn't end, in 12th grade or at the end of college. You need to constantly be learning. So first and foremost, we are in fact a public observatory, and so we'll take a quick look at some of the resources that we've got. So when you looked at the moon, you looked through our astrophysics superplanetary refractor. This is an extraordinary telescope. Very few of them actually made, and we use it primarily to look at planets. We look at the sun, the moon, and if we put a solar filter on, we can look at the sun. If you went in and looked at Jupiter, you looked through our 14-inch Edge HD reflecting telescope, and so it's also good for the planets, but we also use it for when we look at deep sky objects. And then finally, our main telescope, if you will, is actually an imaging telescope, and we don't look through this anymore. We used to put an eyepiece on this. This is a 20-inch reflecting telescope. In fact, I remember being up here in the 1980s and actually looking at Halley's Comet as it was leaving our solar system. But this scope is really designed to take pictures, and so those pictures that you saw, if you went into the 20, almost all of them were taken with this scope. And this is this next picture is the kind of picture that you can actually do with this. This is a galaxy called M101, Messier 101, and you'll notice there's this little annotation down here in the lower left. That annotation of SN2023IXF means that it's a supernova. So that little bright star that's right there, now this picture was taken in May of last year. If you looked in April of last year, that bright star would not have been there. That is a supernova. That's when a star finally dies, it collapses, and then it explodes in a great amount of light, and that's what happens. So we actually took this on one of the Friday nights that we were open up here. So this is Messier 101. Some of the other resources we've got is a heliostat. So in our physics classroom, we have a scope that goes right straight through the roof, and we get some mirrors that we can point the sunlight so that it goes down into the tube, and we can project the sun against the back wall here. So where that little black hole simulator was in this corner, during the day we can actually project the sun across here, and from here to here is 9 feet across. And this was a picture we took back in 2017 with the last solar eclipse that was available here to the public. So that's our heliostat. Of course, we always bring scopes out into the yard. We were a little kind on you today. We decided not to bring them out today, but when you come back here in the future, we expect to have some scopes out and even some autoscopes, and you can get some great views through them as well. So again, we do talk about those portable scopes that we can take out, but beyond being an observatory, we do what we call the Copernic Talent Search, and it's really an opportunity for kids to dive deeper into subjects. And not everything we do is astronomy, as you can see here. We even offer a program called Girl Power Science, where young girls from 3rd grade through 8th grade will come up for a day or two and delve into a particular topic. And we always do a a Skype or a video conference, a Zoom conference with a female subject matter expert. So modeling for the girls, you know, here's another woman that followed a STEM career. And in this particular time, we actually were learning about sort of global warming and some of the carbon dioxide causes of that. And we actually had an astrophysicist from the Goddard Space Flight Center talk about the work that she does using satellites, looking at carbon dioxide levels and how that maps into changes in our climate. And then our girls get to ask her questions. And one of our girls asked the question, how did you get interested in astrophysics? And I loved her answer. She said, well, when I was in college, I was an English major, but my boyfriend was a physics major. And we'd go from observatory to observatory. I eventually dumped the boyfriend, but I kept the astronomy. Now she has her PhD in astrophysics and works at the Goddard Space Flight Center. So you never know where a seed's going to get planted, and that's really sort of what Kopernik is about, is planting seeds. We also do programs on the road. This was actually part of a NASA grant that we did last year, helping kids understand what it's going to take to get astronauts safely into space and to the moon and to beyond to Mars. And then how do we actually live and work on Mars? And so they learned about 3D printing of habitats. And so we actually had we 3D printed a little extruding machine for them, and with some Play-Doh they actually made themselves a little Mars habitat. And I think many of you have experienced our portable planetarium. This has been a great tool provided to us by the Floyd Hooker Foundation, and we got that in 2016, and it is practically every month is on the road, and especially now as we're approaching the solar eclipse, a lot of interest in our planetarium program. As I mentioned earlier, we do week-long summer camps, and here's actually one of our students looking safely at the sun. That little white box at the bottom there is a solar filter that knocks about 97% of the light down, so it's safe to look at. But again, we've had some real outstanding opportunities to have some neat things happen here. So this was a picture we took from one of our camps called Journey to the Edge of Space, where our students build a payload that goes on a weather balloon that we launch from here. That weather balloon will go upwards of over 100,000 feet, over close to 20 miles high. And this is a picture from one of the cameras on that payload. You can actually see the Earth's curvature and that nice little blue line. That is our atmosphere. That's what's keeping us alive. These next series of pictures is actually a camera we used to look up at the balloon itself. So when we first inflate the balloon with helium, it's probably about 5, maybe 6 feet in diameter. But when it finally gets up to over 100,000 feet, it's trying to equilibrate the pressure inside the balloon to the lack of pressure outside the balloon. So at this point, this balloon here is about 26 to 27 feet across, basically about the size of this room here. Now these next series of pictures are frame grabs every 40 milliseconds of the balloon finally letting go. So you start to see the envelope start to shred. But this is my favorite picture because it still has that globe shape, but you can still see the sun down below. By the way, that little orange round disc is actually a radar reflector, so that planes and the FAA know where we are. And you can sort of see that. And let me see if I can get this going. Yeah, here we go. So this is the actual video of just before the burst. As right now it's a nice, easy, smooth ride. It'll change pretty quickly. So it's moving pretty quickly. At this point, there's really not much air up there. By the way, that little cable you see coming up is actually one of the antennas that we use. We track it with a ham radio beacon. But we'll just sort of move on here so that you get to keep your cup of tea down here. Other camps we've done here, Jenny has done, and we'll be doing another one this summer, a VR, virtual reality and augmented reality camp. And kids will actually create their own VR and AR content. We always talk about the local astronauts that came from this area. This is Eileen Collins, who grew up in Elmira, 60 miles west of here. Dan Birch, who is a Vessel resident, he flew 4 times to the space station. Here's Doug Wheelock from Windsor, and he's actually on the ham radio station, which I'll talk about in a moment. And then finally, Doug Hurley. Doug Hurley was the pilot of the last space shuttle mission in 2010, but he and Bob Behnken were the first astronauts to fly on a SpaceX Crew Dragon. And he grew up in Appalachian. So one of the things that we've been able to do here with our summer camps, we have a camp called Welcome Aboard the International Space Station, and where students will learn what it takes to become an astronaut, what kind of training they go through, what kind of work they do on the ISS. I talk about satellite orbits and radio communication, and we actually have arranged with NASA to have our students talk to an astronaut using the ham radio station we have here at Kopernik, talking directly to the ham radio station that's on the ISS. So when the ISS comes above the horizon, we can establish communication, and we have about 11 minutes to be able to have our students talk to an astronaut. So let me see if I can get that going here.
NA1SS, NA1SS, Kilo 2 Zulu, Romeo Oscar, are you ready?
NA1SS is the ham radio call sign of the ISS. K2CRO, I use doing phonetics, is the station here at Kopernik.
NA1SS, NA1SS, Kilo 2 Zulu, Romeo Oscar, do you copy?
I'm getting a little nervous because he's over the horizon, but I'm not hearing him come back.
NA1SS, NA1SS, Kilo 2 Zulu, Romeo Oscar, do you copy, Colonel Wheelock?
Kilo 2 Zulu, Romeo Oscar, we've got you loud and clear. Welcome aboard the International Space Station, November Alpha 1 Sierra Sierra.
This is Brendan. How well are plants growing on the space station? Over.
Hi, Brendan. That's a great question. The plants actually grow very well, but of course they need some ultraviolet light.
Here a little bit.
This is Aaron.
I haven't had a shower since June, so June 15th.
Listen how this student asks his question.
But anyway, the way that we bathe actually is kind of like just take a wet washcloth and just kind of wipe your body off. We have rinseless shampoo and rinseless soap that we can use to clean our bodies and stuff. So it's not as good as taking a long hot shower, but it works while you're in space. Over.
This is Matthew Colosi. What is the most significant discovery you've made since arriving on the ISS? Over.
Matthew, are you any relation to the Colosis that lived 2 houses away from me when I was a kid?
Yes, I'm Alan's son.
Great question. Well, probably the most...
So that kid's dad was Doug Wheelock's neighbor. We had no idea that was going to happen, and although maybe it sounds like Alan Colosi knew that, but it was just great to have that local connection. We've done some Scout badges. Even next week, we are doing an astronomy merit badge for a couple of Scout troops coming up. We do special events like Rocket Fest, where families will come up and build those Estes rockets. Actually, at this point, we now build them at home, have you build them at home and bring them up here. Last year, we launched 110 rockets in one day. Astrofest is a big astronomy festival we always hold in October. Again, our Friday night programs, you're up here on a Saturday, but normally from March to mid-December on a Friday night, we will do a Friday night program on a wide range of topics. Back in 2020, when COVID hit, we had to stop. We had all these speakers lined up, but we said, okay, well, let's just wait a couple of weeks until this COVID thing blows over. And well, that didn't exactly play out the way we'd hoped. So got to be about May, and then we said, look, we have all these speakers lined up. Why don't we just use technology? So we actually had them zoom into here at Kopernik. We then turned it around on a YouTube channel, our Kopernik Observatory YouTube channel, and continued our programming. We now have over 25,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel. Not only do we do Friday night programs, but when we do special events, be it eclipses or a reaction stream, like we may be watching a launch of a spacecraft or of a local astronaut, like when Doug Hurley went up for in the SpaceX, we did a reaction, sort of a watch party, with watching the NASA stream, but also sort of communicating with people on the chat. And so those are the kinds of things that we can do with our YouTube channel. And special astronomical events, meteor showers, eclipses, comets. Always the Perseid meteor showers in August is always popular. Lunar eclipses. Actually, a lunar eclipse we did back in 2022 had at one point over 25,000 people watching our live stream. Jenny is our live stream astronomer, and people in the chat were saying we left NASA's live stream because we like yours better. So Jenny did a great job with that. Solar eclipses. So this is a little panoramic shot of some of the 1,500 people that we had up here back in 2017 for that solar eclipse. Again, if there's a comet, we've had people come up here. This is Comet Hyakutake back in the 90s. This is Comet Neowise that happened back in 2020, and actually this is a shot I took with my phone right out here. Now we worked with the Junior League of Binghamton. It's a women's service organization to create the Copernik Science Park. It was an opportunity for us to take what was basically a swampy area and turn it into a teaching playground. And so if you haven't already been up here, it's a great facility. Here you can type, you can call it a moon climber or whatever you want to call it, but it's a geodesic dome. And every one of our structures have signage on there with a QR code that takes you to our website, so you can learn more about that specific aspect of technology or science that's associated with that structure. Binghamton University built a bridge for us over our pond, and we even have a small little library there that when you need a break you can read some books. And so here's a great nighttime shot. You can actually see the Milky Way in this shot. And actually, we got an email from a person who had come up here for to play on the playground and said, "Thanks for inspiring my little one today. She said when I get bigger, I want to fly real fast in a rocket ship." So again, it's that planting of seeds that we just love to do up here. So now I want to talk a little bit about sort of the Copernik of tomorrow. Again, I said this year we're celebrating our 50th anniversary, and so we're setting up a number of events. You're at our first one, our Winter Star Party. Coming up in April is our solar eclipse, April 8th. It's a Monday, but we will be open. Although we're not in the path of totality, we'll be about 97% covered. We actually have solar eclipse glasses that are available for purchase in the store. We've also been given an educational downlink. One of the sort of local astronauts, Dr. Jeanette Epps, who actually grew up in Syracuse, and she's been down here to Copernik. She is scheduled to go up as early as March 1 on a SpaceX Crew Dragon to the ISS, and will be working on the ISS for 6 months. And what she has asked for us to do is to put together a group of students to ask questions. We will video their questions, send those to NASA, and then Jeanette Epps from from the ISS will do a live downstream for about 20 minutes, answering those students' questions. So we're very fortunate to have that opportunity. We'll be doing our Rocket Fest, which right now we're scheduled for June 1st. And then finally, our gala. We're going to hold a 50th anniversary gala at the Doubletree Hotel in Binghamton on October 5th. The keynote speaker is Nobel Prize-winning scientist Stanley Whittingham from Binghamton University. If you don't know, Stan Whittingham got a Nobel Prize for development of the lithium-ion battery, and so he will be our keynote speaker. Along with celebrating 50 years, we sort of looked at, okay, let's look at the timeline here. So it was built in 73, opened in 74. In 1993, Roberson expanded it to where we are today. So there was a 20-year span after they made a major investment. We're now here 30 years later, and now it's time to make the next series of investments. And so we do want to renew this building. We want to bring it up to more contemporary educational standards. It turns out I found out we can remove that column, but I want to get rid of that column. So we'll be doing that as well, among many other things. But also we need to bolster our teaching staff. We're seeing now that schools really need help developing curriculum and presenting it now that it's associated with this new New York State Science Learning Standard. And so we are looking to hire some part-time teachers that really enjoy teaching science and engineering, and so we're looking to bolster the staff. We're also going to put together sort of a satellite classroom, a STEM van, that we can take our resources, our planetarium, and other resources into the schools. And as I mentioned, we're trying to support this next generation science standard, this New York State Science Learning Standard. It's sort of like the Common Core, but for engineering and science, and especially in primary and elementary school, all those teachers are primarily generalists. They are not science oriented, and so we feel one of the things that we can offer is we have that background to help the kids understand the various aspects of science that they need to know at first and second and third and fourth and fifth grade, because they're going to be tested in fifth grade across that whole span of years, and so we feel like we're going to be able to partner with the schools and support them with that. And sort of dreaming, again, part of this building upgrade is what might this facility look like, and so we started working with some architects to start dreaming a little bit and thinking about geez, is there a way that we could even do an outside screen area that we can actually do engage larger crowds. So anyway, finally, we are celebrating 50 years, and so we're sort of updating our logo now with the 50-year imprint on there. And I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move over to let Jenny talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's coming up.
All right, thanks, Drew. This is working now. So, yeah, just really quickly for my section of the show here, we're going to go over our kind of first stage of the 50th anniversary celebration with our Eclipse offerings coming up in March and into April. So, what we have to start here is we're calling this Kopernik Observatory's March to the Eclipse. Most of it's in March, so it works. So as far as our programming is concerned. The day of the eclipse is April 8th, but throughout the month of March and then a little bit into early April, we'll be running programs focused on the solar eclipse and eclipses in general. So we'll come back to this in just a moment. I'm going to show you on the slideshow here the kind of two big things we're doing for the eclipse and offering from the public programs perspective. And then I'll jump you over to the website to show you the March to the Eclipse section that's just been updated. So this is March to the Eclipse, and then we also, that was in there, but now it's gone. So that's okay. So I was going to show you the Eclipse glasses, but I can just do that through the link as well. So let me bounce out of this. And we'll go over here. So on the web page, which I now have to bring over here, there is a new tab. And you know what? We're just going to do this because we have duplicates, or we got to duplicate the screens because you're not seeing the tabs there right now. So let me switch that over. Duplicate. And try again. There we go. So, that works. Thanks. So, first thing at the top of our website, Kopernik.org, there's a new tab right at the top called March to the Eclipse. So you march your cursor over there and click on it, and it will take you to our March to the Eclipse webpage. It gives you a countdown to the April 8th total solar eclipse. It gives you a link to purchase eclipse glasses. We'll come back to that in a moment. We'll focus on the events for right now. So here's our event schedule. All of these happening on Friday except for the programs on the day of the eclipse. So the eclipse fills in our Friday night public programs for March. So March 1st, we're focused on eclipse science and safety. Each of these programs is designed to add a little bit more context to the eclipse event. So if you want a full scope of what's happening April 8th, you can attend all the main presentations. So that's a presentation March 1st. It's setting the scene for us. And there are going to be 2 Family Friday eclipse editions, similar to the activities that you may have participated in here tonight. You're going to do the same thing, kind of going through all the rooms at Kopernik and working with eclipse activities instead. So you can make your own solar corona. You can make a pinhole projector to safely observe the sun. We will have a special solar eclipse planetarium show on offer as well. So those are available for either of those dates, March 8th or March 22nd. They both start at 6 p.m. Just want to make sure you know that both of those are the same program. So you don't have to attend both. You'll get the same thing out of each of them. Then our next presentation will be March 15th. We have the president of the Adirondack Sky Center and Observatory coming as a guest speaker to present on the Great Adirondack Eclipse. So it's putting the eclipse in context of viewing it through the Adirondacks. So that'll be an excellent program. They have totality there, so that will give us that totality perspective and what they're looking for and expecting for that event. Okay, then our Family Friday. March 29th is called The Eclipse Amongst Spring Skies. So we're going to talk about, kind of in the context of totality, how the skies darken. And when the skies get dark during the total eclipse, other things come out because the sunlight is blocked. You get the ethereal solar corona, but there's other things in the sky as well. Planets, maybe some stars, and maybe a surprise coming our way too that you'll have to come to that show to find out what that is. And then we'll also just talk about spring skies in general, even what's out in the night sky. So we'll combine those 2 ideas. Following that, our last eclipse presentation is called the Total Solar Eclipse Outlook. And this is going to be an overview. At this point, we should have a good idea of the regional forecast, so we'll go over the weather for the time. And at different areas in New York, or in just across the Northeast as well, in case you're really apt to travel around to access totality. And then also the outlook for Kopernik and our partial eclipse event that we will see here. So yes, Kopernik will be open on April 8th from 1 to 5 p.m. for our observing session at KOSC. And we will achieve about 97% of a maximum eclipse for our area. And part of these presentations too will be talking about where can you access to totality, how far would you have to go from our area to see it. So we'll talk about that too. And then finally, same day, April 8th, we will be running an observing live stream. We have an eclipse science team that will be going out to, well, we haven't quite selected our spot yet, but we will be traveling to totality, and we'll be running a rig there that's sending data back home for you to observe on our YouTube channel. So you'll be able to see totality there even if you can't travel that day. And that's our eclipse stack of programs. After that, we will resume our normal public schedule. We have those events coming soon, so look out for those. And I'll jump us quickly over to the Eclipse Glasses site. You can, of course, buy these. The Kopernik Eclipse Glasses in the store tonight if you want. It is buy 4, get 1 free, so if you can get a whole pack for the family. They come with envelopes to keep them secure and safe until the day of the eclipse. So those are available in the store now, or you can also purchase them here on our Square site. And same thing, buy 4, get 1 free. And you can also, I'll just browse here through the parts of the glasses. With these, we kept education in mind. You can learn things with these glasses. If you look across the arms, on each arm there's something to learn. So this side shows you the different phases of solar observing, including eclipses and totality, and when you want your glasses on versus off. Just quick tip there, 95% of the time, 99% of the time, glasses should be on when you observe the sun. Only during totality do you want them off. And then on the other arm, we have a depiction of the sun, moon, and earth system, and the shadows at work that make this eclipse event happen. So those features are there on the glasses, and of course they're the functional lenses to ISO-rated lenses that will let you safely observe the sun. So those are available online for shipping, or you can come back and pick them up too. Other than that, those are our eclipse offerings. We hope to see you back here at Kopernik during those. The presentations will be live streamed, just like this one is right now. So if you can't make it to an eclipse program on site, you will be able to access those from the YouTube channel. Family Fridays will only be held at Kopernik. We don't have any sort of virtual element for those, but we hope you can make it up for the family activities as well related to the eclipse. And with that said, I'll bring us back to the home page. Is there anything you wanted to conclude with, Drew?
No, just I'm really just quite honored to be part of this fantastic organization. Astronomy is not my, not what I was trained for, but I have certainly very much come to love it. And even in the morning, I'll go out to go get my paper, and I'll look at, okay, what's up in the sky now, so I hope if this is your first time, I hope to see you back here again. For those that have memberships, actually I didn't do my membership stick here. So just as a show of hands, who here is a member? Wow. Okay, great. Who's here for the first time? Pretty much everybody else. Okay. Well, again, Kopernik belongs to what's called an Association of Science and Technology Centers, and a Kopernik membership gets you into Kopernik, in any of our events here, but also, will give you access to over 350 other science centers. So you could go to Roberson, you could go to the Ithaca Science Center, you could go to the Intrepid down in New York City, or the Franklin Institute in Philly, and it's all free, and you skip the lines of people buying their tickets. So if this is the kind of place that appeals to you, consider getting a membership. And anyway, we'd love to see you back here again. Thank you again for coming this evening, and for coming to this presentation. Again, I'll be around if they have any other questions. We have a question here.
So, what is your land ownership here in terms of protecting the dark skies?
Okay, the question was, what is the land ownership protecting the dark sky? Well, we chose to put Kopernik where it is because it's far away from any streetlights. It's been a challenge trying to get local municipalities to adopt a more stringent light control. Like I've tried that, like in Vestal, trying to get the right color temperature of the street lamps, because they're moving to LED lamps. So again, we've been trying to work toward that. Fortunately for us, most of what we want to look at is in the south, and so that's basically northeast Pennsylvania. So other than when they were starting to do all their fracking and to do the initial flaring, when it was flaring, it was just this big orange glow that sort of wiped us out for about 6 months. But once that sort of quieted down, it's been much better. So fortunately for us, the south isn't too bad. When we look to the north, we call that the Vestal Nebula. It's just all this sort of fuzzy white area. But what's also nice is that people that even have lived here their whole lives will come up, and then they're like, "Where did all these stars come from?" And you have to come here in order to really see that. We haven't given up, but we'd love to see a more scientific approach to dealing with the proper lighting that serves its purpose from a safety standpoint, but also conserves the dark sky. Because not only for astronomy, but for animals, for humans, those lighting choices can make a real difference in the health and welfare of humans and animals. How so? Well, in particular with animals, some of the bright lights make it difficult for them to actually go to sleep. And I don't know about you, but when I don't get enough sleep, I don't feel well. And so not only from a sleep, but also from being able to mate and have more animals make in nature, for lack of a better way to put it. It does affect them. Any other questions? Well, again, hopefully the skies will. We were very fortunate. I was looking at the sky chart earlier today. I'm thinking, boy, we may be having to mostly just do regular tours and not really giving you an opportunity to look through the sky through the scopes. But it's been great so far. Hopefully, has anybody been out? Mark, have you been out recently, or Sasha? Could you tell me what's the skies look like? We'll get Sasha, one of our educators, to give her her professional assessment of that. All right. So we have a rule here that you cannot leave Kopernik until you look through a telescope. So give me your keys, and you'll get them back. All right. Okay. If you have, then you're good. But you can go back and look again. So. All right, well, thanks again. It was great to have you all here this evening, and look forward to having you back again and again.